Welcome back to Social Champions on Daily Ad Brief. I'm your host, Mike White, and on Social Champions, we are meeting with experts in the social media space, live streaming, and businesses and people that can help companies grow and get their message out there. Join us today from the great state of Pennsylvania, Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions. Tim, welcome to Social Champions.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
So tell me a little bit about the services you offer your customers. You're not just a social media company, but you go deeper into live streaming. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had been hosting and still continue to host a show called The Tim and Jim Show. Had been doing that for 2 years, and then the pandemic started, and started offering courses on how to launch your own live show in 6 weeks with a program called Survive and Rise with Live Video. We've done 5 rounds of that course. I'm going to be launching a new course in October, a more one-on-one coaching kind of program for people who already have specifically LinkedIn live shows and they really want to up-level their shows. They want to make more impact, more visibility, more engagement, and things like that. And also have been producing virtual events, virtual events for organizations like the Pennsylvania Environmental Council, book festivals, even did some work with an agency for the United Nations. So it's been a really exciting year, despite all the things that have been going on in the world. A lot of opportunity with live streaming, both for shows and virtual events.
How do companies monetize live streaming?
That is a great question. And there's really a number of ways to monetize live streaming. One way is you provide a lot of value during your live streams. And then when you do have, say you're offering a course or some sort of coaching program or some other product, then you can mention those during your live show. And that's worked really successfully for me. There's a show that I produced called Shout Out Saturday Live, where we bring on people live onto the show. And it's a lot of fun. Anyone can come on live, and we focus on positivity. We dance on screen together. We also, people shout out who they're grateful for. But during those shows, when I have programs coming up, I share about my courses and things like that. And that's the number one way that I monetize through live streaming, is by mentioning those courses during the live shows. The live shows are a ton of fun. We use a snap camera, so we're silly with filters, and you can turn into cartoons and all sorts of silly things, but it's memorable. And that's one of the really important things about live streaming, is that your show is memorable. People are going to remember. They're going to come back to you. And then when you have something to offer, you can make that pitch, and people that are loyal to your show will remember you and come back and sign up for some of your products or services. So that's one way.
What is the KPI or the metric of success to the number of people watching when you go live? In LinkedIn, I get notifications all the time that somebody's going live. And I sometimes say, you know what, I'm curious what this is. But what is success? Is it 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people?
So live streaming, including on LinkedIn, is interesting in the perspective of that you're going to have your live viewers, but then you'll also have people that will watch on the replay. So I don't usually have a specific number in my head in terms of the number of viewers, but I'm more concerned with engagement, the number of people that are commenting as we go through the show, as we ask questions, who's responding to the message that we're putting out. Because the most important thing with live streaming is that engagement. And then by building that loyalty of people who come back time and time again, they're likely to take action when you do want to monetize down the road. So one thing that I do after live shows that I would recommend that you do is every single person who comments, I send them a direct message, and just saying thank you, starting a little conversation. And then those people are the ones who are most likely to come back time and time again because you were in their in their direct messages, and showing your attitude for them.
So it seems very time consuming with everything a business has to do nowadays. And think back, gosh, probably 25 years, 20 years. You had yellow pages, billboards, television, maybe some radio ads, and the newspaper. Now it seems like you are always on. And someone says, you know what percent of budget should be spent towards marketing or advertising? You can't even equate that nowadays because you have to invest in someone to manage your social media, to do your live streaming. How is that for a business? How do they manage all these different elements or the things they have to do just to stay relevant?
Yeah, it's definitely there's definitely a lot of components, like you said. So, one thing I would recommend is you create a checklist for every show that you're going to do, because there's things that you want to do before the show. You want to say, for example, like you have a guest on your show. Here I am, right? I'm your guest. So for example, on the Tim and Jim show, we use a Google Calendar which integrates with Calendly to book our guests. So that saves a lot of time in terms of emails going back and forth. And then just create a checklist. You'll want to promote your show, and so many different things. So if you create a checklist, so that way every time you're not missing any steps, I find that helpful. And if you can, definitely outsource pieces of it. If you can outsource, the promotion posts for your show, after the show, you might want to repurpose clips from your show. That is definitely time consuming, especially if you're not really quick at video editing and things like that. There's a piece of software out there called Lately that helps with repurposing your content and creating it into many, many different pieces of content. So it's just a matter of your budget, your time, but using things like Google Calendar, Calendly, and then outsourcing some of the responsibilities could definitely help with the time management.
Well, Tim, thank you for coming on today and sharing your insights about live streaming and all the great things your company can do.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
To find out more about Sohn Social Media Solutions, visit us at dailyadbrief.com. We'll see you next time on Social Champions.